Hello and welcome to our first episode of 2021 in the kitchen with the Sheskeys. Today we are making a very special recipe and one that you can find in our very first Summit View PTO family cookbook that is going to be released this Friday. In that cookbook you can find one of our favorite family recipes, which is called Inside Out Ravioli Casserole. When I was a little boy, we'd go over to my grandparents' house and my grandma would always have this made. And whenever I think of my grandma, I think of this casserole. It is very Italian and my family on that side is very Italian. So in this recipe, you're gonna find a delicious vegetable. And when I say it, you might cringe because you don't like it, but you would love it in this recipe. And that is spinach. Do you recognize it? You've probably had spinach before, and if you haven't, you may have had lettuce before, and this looks a lot like lettuce. In fact, it pretty much is. It's a green, and it's a leaf, and it is good. So spinach typically looks like this, but the type of spinach that we're going to use in this recipe is frozen spinach. So you can find frozen spinach in the frozen food section of the grocery store, and it comes in almost like a box. And when you take it out of the box, you can see it's got ice on it, some frost. And to use it, you actually have to melt it down in the microwave. So I did that. I'm gonna take that out so you can see it. So it kept most of its square shape, but it's holding a lot of water. So we need to get that water out of there. In order to get the water out of there, we are really just going to be taking some paper towel and we are going to just be pushing down on it. And that paper towel is going to fill up with a lot of the green juices from the spinach. We're just going to run it right into the sink. Now, if you don't get all of it out, that's all right. It's going to cook out of it anyways. But we want to get most of it because if we leave it in, it's going to make the filling for this casserole a little too juicy, a little too wet. So we got that. And then we're just gonna dump it right into a bigger bowl because that is gonna be part of our main mixture. All right, also going into that bowl are our noodles. So I've got our noodles over here. They have cooked. And we are going to drain out the water in there. The noodles have absorbed a lot of them. A lot of the water. All right, and we're gonna dump that in there. Just like this. Okay. Woo! All right. Chopping onions always makes me a little sad. I'm just kidding. I'm not really sad, I'm not really crying, but the onions, the smell from the onions really makes my eyes water. Does that ever happen to you? Does anyone have tricks to make your eyes not water when you chop an onion? If you do, I would love to have them. I have tried putting goggles on, sunglasses, I think I've tried everything. But chopping onions always makes me cry. Next, we're gonna get our meat ready. So over here, I've been browning our meat, and it is ground beef. In with the ground beef, we have some garlic salt, we have regular salt, and we have some chopped onions. So you can see that that is ready, and what we're gonna put in there next is our marinara sauce. Now you can choose whatever flavor marinara sauce you want. Right here I have the tomato basil marinara sauce. And this will just be poured right in there to make the marinara sauce that will mix in with the noodle mixture. Part of our filling is going to include delicious Parmesan cheese, breadcrumbs, 2 eggs, and some vegetable oil, along with more cheese. So here's how to do that. We're gonna take our 2 eggs that the recipe calls for, and this is where you're gonna need little assistance because you don't wanna get any shell in there. is cracking those eggs into a bowl that is large enough for you to beat them in. And when I say that, what I mean is taking either a fork or a whisk, and you're just gonna be mixing them up so you cannot see the full yolks anymore. The yolks and the whites are all mixed together, just like that. Okay, we'll leave our fork in there because we can keep using that. All right, then we're going to need to add a 1/2 cup of both Parmesan cheese and the breadcrumbs. So the Parmesan cheese will go first, and then the breadcrumbs. Okay, and then we're gonna add the vegetable oil, and you need a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. And that goes right in there, like that. And you're gonna mix all of that together. It's gonna create a funky consistency. Definitely not something you would want to just eat a spoonful of. All right, and then that is gonna go right into your noodle and spinach mixture that you started. Just like that. Okay. And then we're going to bring over our meat sauce mixture. And I added the marinara sauce too. That's gonna go in there as well. Okay, I'm saving a little bit because what I wanna do with that is put it right on the bottom of our casserole pan. So there's a nice base. That's gonna help prevent it from any burning that could happen. To prevent it further, of course, you could grease the pan with some butter. You could spray it with some Pam. I'm just gonna layer that. That seems to do well in that pan. And now I'm gonna mix all of this together. And if it's cool enough, you can certainly use your hands to mix it. It's still a bit too hot for me, and the spoon is working out pretty well. This is where the magic starts. It smells so good. Oh my gosh. Have you ever smelled something and it just takes you back somewhere? I'm smelling this and it's taking me back to my grandma's kitchen. It smells so good, inside out. Ravioli casserole. All right, most important part, besides the spinach, adding the cheese. Now the recipe calls for shredded cheddar cheese. Well, Mr. Sheskey forgot that at the store today, so we're gonna use that up, and then we're going to add mozzarella. So we got a good mix of both. You mix that in, and don't worry, there's going to be more cheese. We're gonna add some at the top as well. As delicious as it does smell and look right now, remember, you do not want to eat this yet. It does have raw eggs in it. All right, now we're just gonna dump it in. Super simple. No need to layer it like a lasagna. It all just gets dumped in. And if you mixed it well enough, you're gonna get bits and pieces of all of those ingredients in every bite. All right. Flattening it out, pop that noodle back in there. More shredded cheese on top, to your liking. And now you're gonna bake it at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. And then you'll take it out and we'll check it out then.
Go.
All right, time is up. That was 30 minutes at 350 degrees. Now we're gonna take it out and take a look. Woo! Oh yeah! Check that out. It's nice and crispy on top. The cheese has melted. Yes, that reminds me of the way Grandma made it. Cheese is a little heavier on one side for us, a little lighter on another side, just preference. Let's take a look at it. Ooh. See that gooey cheese? Yum. This is the perfect comfort food. Get a plate for Mrs. Sheskey here. Woo. Mr. Sheskey here, the newest Mr. Sheskey. He can't try it quite yet, but he is giving it the thumbs up for smell. Let's give it a taste. That is delicious. Let's see what he thinks if he just tries it. Not a fan yet, but I promise you it is so good. And if you make it, let me know. I would love to hear about it. And remember, the cookbook is coming your way this Friday. Try any recipe and let us know how you like it.